Wasting money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deeper seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Evening, everyone. It's Jim here. Welcome to the latest in our series of live revision sessions for A-level business, focusing on the business basics, the topics, the concepts that we know traditionally underpin exam success next summer. And tonight's topic is break-even analysis and also budgeting. And as you will see on the screen, I'm joined by a familiar face, the Graham in disguise. It's Jamie. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Jim. You?
Yeah, good. And, well, we've got 25, 30 minutes of fast-paced revision. These sessions, I think, are going to get a little bit harder looking at tonight's stuff. I think we're starting to raise the level, aren't we?
Yeah, some challenging questions tonight, Jim, on budgets and break even.
Yep. Well, we'll get straight into those as people are joining us live. As always, though, let's make a start with the big reveal. Now, you haven't seen this, Jamie, I don't think, so you can have a go, mate.
Nope.
I'll reveal the clues. So we're going to do some multiple choice questions tonight. We're going to do a couple of calculations, a couple of mini case studies, and of course, the application spinner. But first of all, name the business. Who can get it right in the live chat first? First clue will be coming up. Here it is. It's founded in 1965. So, Jamie, if you're sat there thinking, well, I know a business, but it was founded in 1964, it's not that one.
No. Damn.
No one's got it right so far. Here's the next clue. The first location for this business was in a jazz club in London. The first location. It's actually got many locations now, hundreds and hundreds, but the first one was in a jazz club in London in 1965, presumably. Yeah, I was alive then, actually. Hard to believe. I was very, very young, but I was around. You weren't, Jamie, were you? You were
No.
just an idea still.
just an idea, yeah.
Here comes, and I'm gobsmacked.
Yeah, Jasmine, amazing.
Let's keep going. Let's imagine that no one has entered the right answer in the live chat. Lots of other answers coming in. It was the first business to import and serve Peroni beer to the UK. Now it's everywhere, isn't it? Peroni. But
It is.
business was the first to use it, to import it and serve it.
So Italian business, maybe Italian Peroni.
Could be. It is an Italian. Well, I think it's now brewed over here, isn't it? But at the time, it was brewed in Italy. This business invented dough balls in 1969. And the last clue, and we'll stick Jasmine on. Jasmine was actually incredibly fast the live chat. Definitely the first on the live chat tonight. The answer, the fifth clue, is that, as we know, it's famous for its sloppy Giuseppe. To be honest with you, I've never had one of those at Pizza Express, but I might do now. You've been to Pizza Express, Jamie? Are you a fan?
I have. Yeah, very, very nice. Very nice.
Did I ever tell you that Graham and I set up a restaurant that only sold calzones?
Really?
Yeah, it folded. So here we go. MCQ time. So I think we've got 4 or 5 of these. Do you want to do the first one, Jamie?
Yeah,
to you, mate.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got one of the statement questions. These can be quite challenging, as we know. So statement number 1 says the formula to calculate a variance is budgeted amount minus the actual. And statement 2, the formula to calculate break even is fixed costs divided by variable cost per unit minus the selling price. So we've got 4 answers there in relation to statement 1 is true, statement 2 is true, A. B, statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. C, statement 1 is false, statement 2 is true. And finally, statement 1 is false, statement 2 is false. So have a look at those. Think about your formulas and see if you can come up with the right answer.
The answers to these 2 statement ones, these will be familiar to AQA students. Obviously, Excel students don't have them, but they're a good way of practicing, is that the answers are always the same. You just have to work out whether each statement is true or false. And, well, what do you think?
We've got some answers coming through, yeah.
We've got some C's and A's seem to be the 2.
C's and A's, yeah. So a lot of people think that both of those are true. The odd C there.
I'm not sure I believe.
Not sure I can see the answer there, though, Jim, in what they've come up with.
Jasmine saying we haven't done variances yet. Well, we'll explain what variances are. So don't worry, we'll go through that. Shall we have a look at the answer, mate?
So our answer here is D. Statement 1 is false and statement 2 is false. So if we look at the formula to calculate a variance is the difference between what we expect to achieve and what we budgeted to achieve. So the difference between those 2.
Yeah, actual less budget.
Yeah, actual less budget. So that's our answer, isn't it? So the formula is actually the other way around. It's the actual amount minus the budgeted amount in relation to statement number 1.
Yeah.
And statement number 2, to calculate our break even is our fixed costs divided by our contribution per unit. And our contribution per unit, the formula to calculate that is our selling price minus our variable costs.
Yeah, so tricky one. Statement 2 was, statement 2 was. So we're going to go through these formulae as we go through this session. And also explain a bit more about variances. So if this is you're covering variances for the first time, well, in half an hour's time, you're going to know all about them, and that'll be sorted. Here's our next one. I think this is hard, so read this carefully.
Very hard,
A business has only got one product, and it sells it for £24 per unit. And we're told that the variable cost of that product is 2/5 of the selling price. So with that information, what is the monthly contribution if 10,000 units are sold each month? So we need to work out the contribution per unit, don't we? From that first line, £24 selling price. The variable cost is 2/5 of the selling price. Using that, work out what is the contribution if they sell 10,000 units per month. A couple of stages in that. That is a tricky question.
Tough question. It's very easy to get the wrong answer here. Very easy to get the wrong answer.
It is.
So think about it. Think about the variable cost. Think about what we just said a minute ago in terms of working out the contribution per unit. That's going to help you as well.
Remind me what that formula was, Jamie.
Formula for contribution per unit is the selling price minus the variable cost.
Okay, so
selling
£24 less something. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, answers coming through. We've got some A's. We've got quite a few B's. Alison, Elizabeth, Jasmine and others going for B. A few other letters coming through. Not many, though. Most people saying B. Let's have a look at the answer. It is... We've even got a working from Mandy as well. Let's take that. I love it when people put workings into the live chat for the multiple choice. There it is. We had to work
Brilliant.
out the variable cost per unit. Well, it's 2/5, so it's 40% of £24. So that leaves 60% of £24, £14.40 was the contribution per unit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of students will do the 2/5, Jim, and figure out that that's £9.60, and then they'll do £9.60 times the 10,000 to give you £96,000, rather than doing the remainder, which is the £14.40 multiplied by the 10,000. So that's where we've got to be a little bit careful.
Not our lot tonight. I'd say 90% of people on the live chat got it right. If you're watching on catch up, hopefully you got it right too. So well done. It was 144,000. Jamie, over to you on this one.
Yep. Okay. So another one of our favourite, statement questions. So the answers, as Jim said earlier on, don't change. Statement 1: a favourable cost variance occurs when budgeted costs are higher than actual costs. And statement 2: an adverse profit variance occurs when actual profit is lower than budgeted profit. So again, if you've done budgets, you'll have an understanding of this. We need to think about what favourable and adverse means, certainly when it comes to costs and certainly when it comes to profit and revenue. So that might help you. Think about that when answering these questions.
I always think of favourable as being good news.
Absolutely.
It's good news for the business. In other words, maybe our sales are higher than budget, or our costs are lower than budget, or our profit is higher than budget, and then adverse is the other way around. Is it bad news?
Yeah. Absolutely. Got some good answers coming in. Got some A's, some C's here.
A's and C's the main one. I say mainly A's.
I think so. Mainly A's. Yeah, absolutely.
Charlotte, Alison, Tangled, and Jasmine have all gone for A. So is Elizabeth, Mandy. Yeah, I'd say most people going for A.
Yep.
Should we have a look?
We should have a look. Yeah.
Here it comes.
So our answer is A, isn't it? Statement 1 is true. So as Jim said, think about favourable as a positive for us. So if our costs, when we budgeted them, are higher than our actual costs, that's obviously favourable for us, isn't it? In relation to that. And again, so for example, if our budgeted wages are 10,000, but the actual wages are 9,000, then we've saved money, haven't we?
Yep.
Yeah, which is a positive for us. And an adverse profit variance, well, that occurs when the actual profit is lower than budget. So again, if we predicted that we were going to generate £10,000 of profit, but we actually generated £9,000 worth of profit, well, that's negative for us, isn't it? That's a bad thing. We've earned less than we expected to make. So again, that there is true as well. So yeah, really good tip.
Is it good or bad news compared with the budget, isn't it? That doesn't mean that you've made a loss. You can make a profit still, but if it's lower than budget, then that's bad news. That's adverse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Heber's asking in the live chat, can we go over break-even formula and analysis? Yeah, we're going to do that. We're doing a bit of that in this session. So we'll go from first principles. Well done. Lots of people got that right, including Chow and Tyler as well. So now, talking of which, break-even analysis. So on a break-even chart, can you remember what that looks like? Not the most fun things to draw, but an important thing to understand.
Yeah.
What is the break-even output? Or sorry, more specifically, where would you find the break-even output on a break-even chart? It's one of those answers. I'll give you a clue on this one. It's either A, B, C, or D. Here to help. So one of those positions on the chart will tell you what the break-even output is. And the break-even output, remember, is where we're making neither a profit nor a loss. I've given you a bit of a clue there. So I won't say anything else. Stay quiet for a few seconds, which I find quite hard. Charlotte, Scanners, Chow, Lai, Jasmine, Tyler, loads of people going for the same answer. So either everybody is correct or everybody has got this very badly wrong. The good news is you've got it right. Well done. So just to explain this, so you do need to know the break-even chart and be able to interpret them, sometimes even draw them with some examples. Break even, it's where you're not making a profit, but you're not making a loss. Well, that is where total revenue must equal total costs. So where the total revenue line cuts the total cost line. And then you draw down, and that tells you what the break even output is. One more I think we've got, haven't we?
One more, Jim, yeah.
This is hard.
I think this one's really hard. So business A operates a car valeting service, and it estimates that the price elasticity of demand, the PED for its services, is minus 2.0. So it's an elastic product, isn't it, Jim?
Yep.
Which of the following would be most likely to increase the margin of safety? of the business. So what's going to increase the margin of safety? So is it A, an increase in the cost of cleaning materials? B, a decrease in the selling price of the most popular valeting options? An increase in the rent paid to the building landlord? Or new, cheaper car valeting competitors opening nearby? Tough question.
It's a very good question, though.
Very good, but tough. We've got
Yep.
some answers coming in sort of almost instantaneously there, Jim, haven't we?
It's amazing how quickly they're answering.
Yeah. So
That
again, it's
is-
understanding what
Yeah.
what PED means, isn't it, Jim? And what an elastic product means, what inelastic product means, what's the impact on price and demand as a direct result of this.
But I think also, if you remember the break-even or the calculation for margin of safety, which includes break-even output, you can almost eliminate 3 of the others, can't you?
You can, yeah. And the formula for margin of safety is your actual output minus your break-even output.
Yeah. Should we have a look at the answer? Everyone's got it right in the live chat.
They have indeed, yeah.
1 or 2 people changing their mind, but they got it right first time.
Yeah.
B.
So the answer is B, a decrease in the
done.
selling price of the most popular valeting option. So why is it B? So demand, obviously, as we said earlier on, is price elastic, as that's greater than 1. So that means for every 1% decrease in price, Jim, quantity demanded will increase by 2%.
Yep.
Okay. So if the business decides to reduce its selling price, demand obviously will increase as a direct result of that. Price goes down, demand goes up. I think if we can think about that sort of rule, that can sort of help us. So therefore, the business will earn less per valet, but will sell more, won't it? And therefore, that's why we've got
If you think through the implication, the amount we sell will be much higher than the fall in our break-even output. Because obviously, if we decrease the selling price, then our contribution per unit is lower. So our break-even output will go up, but not by as much as the increased quantity of valeting sold. So in other words, the margin of safety will increase, won't it? Yeah.
Tough
And
question, Jim. Tough question.
All the rest wouldn't work. An increase in the cost of cleaning materials, that would reduce contribution per unit. An increase in rent, that would increase fixed costs. And a new valeting competitor nearby would just reduce the amount we sell, wouldn't it? So well, you could eliminate A, C, and D, and you get to B. Those are 5 of the hardest MCQs I think we've done in this series, possibly ever.
Yeah.
So well done in the live chat. If I've noticed loads and loads of correct answers for those who've been kindly typing their answers in. It's time for a calculation, so I'll set this one off and then I'll ask Jamie to take us through it. So we've got some more businesses from Sunderland. Graham's not here, but Sunderland is. And this is a Mediterranean restaurant. It's one of many restaurants that we feature from Sunderland. This one's called Pitter Pan. And it's got some information there about their budget income, their budget expenditure, and their actual income and actual expenditure last year. And it's over to you in the live chat. We'll stick the clock on this. Can you calculate the profit variance last year and tell us whether it was adverse or favourable? So I'll start the clock and then we'll see how we get on. Hopefully we'll know that profit is the difference between income and expenditure. So I think the first step, Jamie, is to work out the profit, isn't it?
The thing that you've got to do, work out what the actual profit is.
Yep.
And then from there you can work out what the budgeted profit was.
Yep.
And then if we go back to what our formula was earlier on, actual minus budget, we should be able to get the answer.
Yep. And stating whether or not you think it's adverse, bad news, or favourable.
And that's key, Jim, isn't it? I think you can lose marks for not putting adverse or favourable in the exam. So we need to make sure we can just write A or F. We don't have to write adverse or favourable. As long as we put A or F next to it is absolutely fine.
Loads of answers coming in. Tyler put the number down and then very, very quickly, almost within about a nanosecond, told me whether it was adverse or favourable. Not as many answers coming through on the live chat as in the MCQs, but that's possibly because some people attending tonight haven't done a lot, if any, variance analysis, which is why we do these things, because it won't get any harder than what we're showing on screen. What should we do, James? Do you want to take us through the answer?
I'll take us through that. Yeah, absolutely. So
lots of people putting answers in the live chat, which are correct, by the way.
Yeah. So the first thing we've got to do, as Jim said, is to work out what our actual profit is. Okay. So we look there in terms of income versus expenditure. So money in versus money out. So we can see that this business has generated £450,000 actual revenue But to earn that revenue, they've had to spend money, Jim, haven't they? 290,000.
Yep.
So we do 450 minus the 290 gives us an actual profit there of 160,000 versus our budgeted. So we thought that we might earn £400,000 originally when we did our budget, and we thought that we would spend £300,000. So when we do our income minus our expenditure, we get £100,000 as our budgeted profit. And we know that the formula for calculating the variance is actual minus our budget. So our actual is 160,000 minus our budget of 100,000 gives us 60,000 favourable. So this is positive, isn't it? So we've earned more money in profit than we thought we would earn as a direct result. Predominantly because we've generated more revenue, Jim, haven't we? We've generated sort of £50,000 more. So Pitter Pan has generated more customers coming into its business. Maybe they've spent more money, they've revisited, more customers have come on in. So we've earned £50,000 more than we thought we would. But also we've saved on costs, haven't we? We've saved £10,000 in terms of our cost. Maybe we've been able to get some raw materials cheaper. Yeah. Maybe less staff, whatever it might well be. That has contributed,
olives,
isn't it?
Such as olives and pita bread dough.
Yes.
Just to add a bit of application to it. But exactly that. So that's what variance analysis does. It tells us how the business has actually performed compared with what we expected it to. So it's achieved £60,000 more profit than it thought it would. Favourable variance. Lots of people got that right in the live chat. Superb. Time for our application spinner. We do one of these each week. And would you believe it? Greg's has appeared on the list of businesses. Purely random. We're back to break even. And it's the break even analysis question. And it's really down to the different ways that you can change your break even output. So if we remember our formula, the break even output is fixed costs divided by contribution per unit, and contribution per unit is selling price per unit less variable cost per unit. So with that formula in mind, there are some different answers, Jamie, aren't there, to this question. How could the following business lower its break-even point? Should we spin the wheel?
It's in there. So just think about that. 3 main ways in which they could do that.
Bound to land on Greg's. And would you believe it, it hasn't. So it's landed on Premier Inn. So over to you in the live chat. Can you give us one way in which Premier Inn could reduce its break-even point? But don't forget, this is an application spinner. So we're looking for words, phrases that make it about Premier Inn rather than about Ford or EasyJet or Pizza Express. And there are lots of different answers to this. How could Premier Inn reduce its break-even point? Remember that formula. Break-even is fixed costs divided by contribution per unit. So you can change any one of those 3 things in theory, and that would change the break-even point. But the application spinner, what we do with this activity is just to try to encourage you to get used to practicing using words that are about the business. And let's stick Jasmine's in, which looks good. Jasmine always comes in with some great answers, but there's some great application in here. By making their rooms more affordable, lowering the price, therefore increasing sales volume as demand is more elastic. Jamie, using price elasticity demand.
We are indeed. That's great.
That would reduce contribution per unit, but you believe that you would sell more rooms than the reduction in contribution per unit. Therefore, that would reduce the break-even point. Well, it would increase the margin of safety, but it wouldn't necessarily reduce the break-even point, would it? Because the contribution per room has fallen.
That's right.
Tangles is suggesting don't replace the sheets between hotel room usage. I don't think that's an option. However, let's put scanners on. Wash the bathroom bedding or the bedroom bedding in bulk to reduce costs. In other words, reduce the variable cost per room by bulk cleaning the bedding. And that if you were able to do that, that would indeed reduce the variable cost. Therefore, that would reduce the break-even point. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, because that would increase our contribution, wouldn't it? Which have more that contributes to that. So yeah, absolutely.
Tyler's come in by reducing their fixed costs, such as bed sheets and beds and other stuff, televisions, carpets. Those are all fixed, aren't they? They're fixed. They don't change whether anyone's in the room or not. Yeah, reducing fixed costs.
I like Chow's at the bottom there, Jim.
Yeah, let's stick Chow's on. Take me through this one, mate.
Yeah, so what Chow's saying there is that we can increase our price, we increase our selling price.
Yep.
And if we increase our selling price and our variable costs stay the same, then our contribution per unit will be more than it was previously. So we've got more to divide against our fixed costs. So in theory, that will reduce our break even, wouldn't it?
Yep, it would.
Yeah.
It reduced the break-even output. We don't know what the impact on margin of safety will be.
We don't.
Depends on how responsive demand is to the increased price.
And that's
One more.
where we
These
can
are
link
great.
that. Yeah.
Sorry, man. Just fantastic answers coming through on the live chat. Mandy's gone with some more great use of such as seasoning. So Premier Inn could reduce the break-even point by potentially bulk buying smaller products such as toilet paper, towels, bed sheets to utilize economies of scale. Purchasing economies of scale would be even better. Therefore, reduce variable costs per room.
Increasing contribution per unit, and then obviously reducing our break-even point from there.
I'll look out for some more as they come through, but these are fantastic. Here's what we went with. We went with the increased selling price. Now, obviously, that might result in fewer rooms sold, but that wouldn't necessarily impact the break-even output. It would impact the margin of safety. So Premier Inn could increase the price of its rooms. And we've just highlighted in red, this is the idea, which is why it's so great to see people using words like bed sheets, little sachets of shampoo, towels, and toilet paper, because you don't really get many of those at Greggs, because it's about Premier Inn, isn't it? So increase the price of its rooms. This would increase the contribution per room, meaning that Premier Inn needs to sell fewer rooms to its guests rather than customers to cover the fixed costs, such as the salaries of receptionists or room cleaners. In other words, that bit of red makes that about Premier Inn, Jamie, doesn't it?
Yeah. So there's three ways you can answer this question, really, isn't it, Jim? You can increase the selling price.
Yep.
You can reduce your fixed costs, or you can reduce your variable costs. And either one of those will reduce the break-even point, won't it?
Or try and do all three.
Or try and do all three. Yeah, absolutely.
But well done. So I think we're really getting the idea for the application spinner now. Fantastic stuff. We've got one more calculation before we do our final case study. Do you want to take us through this one, Jamie?
Yeah. Okay. So Ryan Hare is a hairdresser's, again, funnily enough, located in Sunderland.
Yep.
The table shows some selected financial data relating to the business last year. So fixed costs last year were $15,600. The average price per haircut was £12. The average variable cost per haircut last year was £7. And the number of haircuts that Ryan Hare undertook last year was 4,160. And what we want you to do is to calculate the weekly margin of safety.
Yeah.
And remember, the formula for the margin of safety is actual minus break even. So we need to work out something before we can actually do the margin of safety, Jim, don't we? So we need to work out something beforehand. Give you a clue, that's the break even. Yeah. If we work out the break even, give it a go.
Margin of safety. Weekly.
You have to know how many weeks there are in a year, Jim.
Last time I looked, it was 52.
You're right. It hasn't changed.
So don't forget, the margin of safety is the difference between actual outputs or actual haircuts and the break-even output for haircuts. And we're trying to get to a weekly number.
Elizabeth has come up with an answer, but I'm not sure that that's weekly.
No, might need to divide by 52 somewhere along the line. I mean, you could work out the annual margin of safety and divide by 52, couldn't you?
You could. Mandy's got an answer there, I think.
I recognise that as being the break-even output, I think.
Yep, that's right. So she's got the break-even one.
Yep.
So now we just need to use that information to work out the margin of safety. Elizabeth, come on in.
Okay, the answers are starting to come through. We've seen that. I've seen definitely one correct answer, which is incredibly quick work. Let's say this was a 4-mark question for Excel. You'd have at least 4 or 5 minutes to work this one out.
Yep.
Could be an AQA question as well.
Absolutely,
but
paper one.
It's not a 1-minute job.
Definitely not.
I've only given you 1 minute. Tyler's got it right. Question mark after his answer. Tyler, you're going to have courage of your conviction. Lots of answers coming through now, and they're all saying the same thing. Should we go through it, mate?
Let's go through it. Yeah, absolutely. So the weekly margin of safety is 20 haircuts. So well done for those that got that. Let's talk you through how we do that. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what the yearly break even is. And we know that break even is the fixed cost divided by our contribution per unit. We know that contribution per unit is the price per haircut minus the variable cost per haircut. So 12 minus 7 gives us 5. So 15,600 divided by 5. And then we take that number and divide that by 52, don't we, Jim? And that gives us 60 haircuts. So across the course of the year, this business will cut 3,120 heads of hair. Across the course of the week, that's 60 haircuts across the course of the week. Then we need to look at our weekly haircuts last year. We know that's 4,162, haircuts last year. Divide that by 52 to give us 80. So we've got 60 this year in terms of our break even, 80 last year, and actual minus break even gives us 20 haircuts.
Yeah, we're doing 80 a week. Doing 80 a week. We need to do 60 to break even. Therefore, our margin of safety is cutting it fine, close shave and all that, but it's 20 haircuts a week.
Yeah, tough question.
Yeah, well done. No, Tangled, Alison, Tyler, Elizabeth, and lots of other people got that right. So well done. That was a hard one. It's not easy tonight. This not easy.
No, definitely not.
We're done with calculations. We said we'd only do 2, and that's 2. So let's finish off with a mini case study, and it's really over to you. We're not going to put the timer on this. Really, just thinking about obviously break-even analysis, partly calculating it, and partly, working out margin of safety and contribution per unit and all that kind of stuff. And the examiners love that, but they also like us to consider how useful break-even analysis is in a particular context. So in this case, our context is, it's a pizza takeaway business in Sunderland called Slice Baby. And sisters Margot and Rita are considering setting this business up. And in addition to pizzas, they're also going to sell burgers, kebabs, chips, and a range of soft drinks. That sounds to me like a product portfolio that's well suited for its location. So, over to you in the live chat. Last activity here. What do you think are give me a benefit, give Jamie and I a benefit to Margot and Rita, of using break-even analysis for Slice Baby, but also maybe a downside, or maybe a limitation rather than a downside. I suppose it's the same thing, isn't it? A limitation. Because lots of people can come up with the advantages of using break-even analysis, the benefits, but sometimes it's a bit harder to think about the downsides or limitations. So we'll give you a little bit of time, 30 seconds or so, if you want to have a go at typing some thoughts into the live chat, and then we'll take you to an answer. What are your initial thoughts on this one, Jamie?
I think we need to think about the costs that we have. Do those costs always stay the same?
Yep.
Or do they change? What does a break-even chart take into consideration? We've got fixed costs, haven't we? We've got variable costs. Do they always stay the same? Can they change? But also, this is a business that's brand new.
Yeah.
And how can this tool, which is a decision-making tool in a way, isn't it? It can help us make decisions. How can it help us make decisions? I think that's a key thing to think about as well. This is their first business, so they have no experience in running a business prior to this. So how can this tool help them with that, I suppose?
Yeah, the fact that it's a new business, but also, as you say, that they have more than one product. So that might be a source of an answer to a limitation or downsides. I'll keep an eye on the live chat. Should we have a look through a couple of... hang on. Stick Taylor's. So Tyler's answer on the screen. It's useful. A benefit is that it helps work out the break-even output for individual products to work out which products can be sold more, or negatives. Maybe products that take too long to make, in the time-consuming in the ovens, and particularly for business with no experience. So that's using context. So that's good application.
It is that, but also that's a negative there, I suppose, of break-even analysis, isn't it? Because it assumes that you only sell one product, doesn't it? Break-even, depending on how many products that they sell, you might have to do multiple break-even charts, and that can become quite complicated, can't it?
Charles making that point here. So one one benefit is the fact that it can help you understand the impact of changes in variable costs. So actually, looking at the answer, we could just tweak that to give it a bit more application. So price fluctuations of raw materials, you could say fluctuations of the costs of ingredients such as cheese, dough,
flour,
and pepper. That would make it application. But it's an important benefit, isn't it? You can isolate break even by product as long as you know what the fixed costs of those products are, or you estimate what the fixed costs are. Good stuff. Let's stick Mandy's on. So people have been working really hard in the live chat. Let's stick another one on. The bonus answer. The benefit is that Slice Baby, SSB, can research their market to find out how many pizzas and other products are typically sold so that they can use that information to set the selling price. Yeah, I suppose the benefit of break-even analysis is you've got to work out how many you think you're going to sell. So I suppose I like that answer because it's basically saying you've got to use market research to work out what your market share will be and therefore what your actual output will be, how many pizzas. And if you then use that information, you can then set, can't you? You can set your selling prices and set your targets for costs and variable costs to try and work out whether you can make a profit. So that's quite an interesting one because I think with businesses, new businesses, you often overestimate how many products you're going to sell, particularly in the first year.
And it's a decision-making tool, isn't it? And that's what we're doing, aren't we? We're setting ourselves sales targets, how many pizzas or burgers or chips we're going to sell, but also then potentially what our pricing could be on the basis of that. So again, it's a decision-making tool, and that's what that response there was suggesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Charlotte's building on that. She's basically saying you've got to use a tool like this to know what the selling price needs to be to cover in particular your variable costs, but also knowing your variable cost, how much contribution each pizza or kebab or burger will contribute to your fixed costs of your new business. What I really like about those answers we've displayed on the screen. We've not put them all on the screen, but what I really like about them is lots of application in there as well. Jamie, take us through our two suggested answers here that are disappearing.
Yep. So the first one there said break-even analysis will allow the sisters to work out how many food and drinks they need to sell to cover their fixed costs. So how many pizzas, how many burgers, how many kebabs do they need to sell to cover their fixed costs, such as rent on the takeaway. So again, we're using context there, aren't we? Rather than just saying such as the rent, we're using the word takeaway to be able to support that. This will therefore allow them to ascertain the viability of Slice Baby. So, if they work out they've got to sell 1,500 pizzas a week, is that viable? Can they actually sell 1,500 pizzas a week? Again, we said that this is a decision-making tool, Jim, didn't we? Yeah. So, you do your break-even, you work out that you've got to sell 1,500 pizzas a week. If that's viable, then we can go ahead with it. So, for example, if the break-even...
that links into Mandy's point that we put on the screen there that says, look, is it viable? Could we actually sell 1,500 pizzas a week? Well, market research may tell you that you can or you can't.
Yeah. So again, that's key. The second one there, the takeaway sells a range of different food options, such as pizzas, chips, and kebabs. And it's likely they all have different prices and different variable costs. So that's what's kind of intimating at the start of this, isn't it? This means that they will need to use an average selling price, an average variable cost per unit to calculate the contribution per unit. So again, in some cases, people think, or the break-even chart tends to assume that fixed costs and variable costs do not change. But actually, if I'm going to my supplier and I'm buying in bulk, I'm buying lots of cheese, I'm buying lots of pepperoni, I'm buying lots of boxes, well, I might actually get a discount on that. I could benefit from economies of scale, and that could actually lower it. But the break-even chart doesn't suggest that, does it? So this may result in the break-even point being inaccurate. For example, they need to sell far more pizzas and chips, again, using that context there as such as seasoning, to cover the fixed costs than originally calculated.
That's a clear limitation,
two good answers there, aren't they? Yeah, absolutely.
A clear limitation that break-even analysis assumes one product, or you have to average everything, and it's not easy. And also, it's a new business, so they may not have much experience of knowing what their variable costs are going to be, what their fixed costs are going to be.
Yeah.
Although you might say that's the reason why you should do break-even analysis. As a tool, I think it's the most widely used tool in business. It really is used day after day. But there are some limitations. Some great answers. We're done. Some great answers in the live chat. I think it's been quite a hard session. We've dealt with budgeting and break even, and they are linked to some extent. But well done for everybody who's joined in. We're back again next week at Wednesday at 6 p.m. It's either Jamie, me, and or Graham, or all three of us. And I think we're doing profitability, profit, and liquidity ratios next week. So we're sort of keeping a financial theme. Cheers, Jamie. Any final thoughts?
Really important if you've got calculations that appear. Learning the formulas is really key. I think that's the biggest thing to take away from today, first and foremost.
Yeah. Well, we've done a lot of taking away, including takeaways. And of course, we're deliberately extending this session so that Mandy still can't leave the session before going on to eat those pancakes. Flipped learning is pancakes. Flipped learning. So anyway, thanks for joining us live. If you're around next Wednesday at 6 p.m., do join us live for our next session. But for now, see you later.